Careblazer. Today, I want to talk about something that you might be doing, but it's causing harm, distress, and anxiety for your loved one. And the thing about it is that you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart to actually help your loved one. This topic is really present on my mind because I had somebody join the care course recently, and I always reach out and I say, okay, tell me your biggest issue. What can I help with? Like, I want to help get you on the right track. And I'll tell you the story in just a minute. But then also, I've been seeing on social media a couple of things that's along the same line. Somebody doing something out of the goodness of their heart to bring their loved one joy. But what they don't realize is that sometimes we're actually bringing our loved one more distress and more harm. So I'm going to share with you the story of the Careblazer, and then I'm going to share like the one question that you have to ask yourself whenever you're thinking about doing something lovely, nice, enjoyable, pleasant for your loved one. You have to run your brain through this one question to make sure it's actually going to have the impact that you want, to at least increase the chances it will have the outcome that you want. So here's the situation. One of my amazing care course members joined, and she was actually caring for her mom and had to recently place her mom in a care facility. And what she was telling me is that her mom would go out to lunch every single week. There was a special day during the week. She would go out to lunch. She never missed it. She did it for years. And then out of the goodness of this daughter's heart, she wanted to keep that tradition alive. So even though her mom was in a care facility, she continued to go pick up her mom and bring her to this restaurant so that she could continue doing this routine. Now, when she joined the care course and started talking to me, she's like, what do I do? My mom seems very anxious when we're on the way back to the facility. She seems to be a little bit in distress even while we're at the restaurant. She doesn't even seem to be enjoying it. And so here's a big message. What your loved one enjoyed doing in the past, they might not enjoy doing now. The disease progresses, the brain changes, the thinking problems get worse. And so even though your mom, your spouse, your loved one enjoyed doing something in the past, it doesn't mean they'll continue enjoying it throughout their whole process. I want to share another example that I saw recently on social media, and I am going to change some details so that nobody can really tell who I'm talking about, because the person has such a big heart. The person is an amazing caregiver wanting to do the absolute best for that person's loved one. So I'm going to use the example. Let's say you're caring for your spouse with dementia and your anniversary is coming up, and maybe it's like the 50th anniversary together and you want to do something special for them. And so you've lined up 3 days of celebration, friends coming in, people from the former bridal party coming in. Maybe you're going to even have professional photos done. So you make sure your spouse gets her hair done and makeup done, and you've got the big outfit planned. Big event. Such a beautiful, beautiful thing to celebrate. But then at some point during that celebration process, your loved one ended up having some sort of medical emergency. Let's say in this case, it was dehydration or something. And so had to be rushed to the hospital, treated, everything's fine. Here's the thing. That outcome could have happened even if there were no celebrations. There's no proof that that's attached. There's no proof that, doing all of this stuff was the reason maybe your loved one went to the hospital. However, the big question you need to ask yourself when you find yourself wanting to do some special thing, whether it's honoring your loved one's traditions from the past and continuing to keep them alive in the same exact way. I'll share how you can keep them alive in a different way in just a moment. Or maybe wanting to mark a big milestone or celebration in a big, amazing celebratory way. Who are we doing that for? I know from the goodness of our heart, we say we're doing that for our loved ones. And I do believe that's what we think we're doing it for. But we have to ask, from whose perspective is this the great thing? This is really important. This is the big question. From whose perspective is it the really great thing to continue taking the mom to her weekly lunch date at the restaurant? From the Careblazers' perspective, it was the best thing because she wanted to keep her mom's traditions alive. She wanted to keep things as normal as possible, as routine as possible. From the Careblazers' perspective, that was the best thing. However, was it the best thing from her mom's perspective? From her mom's perspective, it was very anxiety provoking. She was showing lots of sign of distress. Coming back to the facility, it was getting harder and harder to have her get out of the car and go into the the facility. If we look at just the data, the observations, we'll sometimes learn that the person it's best for, we think it's like from our perspective, according to who? That's the question. According to who is this the best thing? If we look at what our loved ones are communicating, sometimes the best thing may be not taking our loved one to their weekly stand-in lunch appointment. It doesn't mean you can't maybe bring the lunch to her. You can't maybe have a beautiful weekly stand-in appointment where it seems like a dining experience in her room at the care facility where you have a fancy tablecloth and a table is brought in and you bring her favorite treats or even the favorite meal from that restaurant. You can still keep some traditions alive, but we have to be open to shifting and changing and always taking our feedback and information from the person with dementia. And also understanding that in the disease process, what would be fantastic and amazing to us, taking them on that vacation, going on that cruise together, having the big professional photo shoot, doing all of these things, it could absolutely be wonderful for your loved one. But you have to run it through what you know about your loved one and what you think they would be receptive to. Sometimes it might be that from our perspective, it seems like the best thing. But if we were to step into our loved one's perspective, step into their shoes, look at the world through their eyes, is it the best thing? Sometimes both of those things match up from your perspective and your loved one's perspective. Absolutely. They would love it. They would love the photo shoot and getting dressed up and going on vacation or having the big celebration. But sometimes it's different. And sometimes you want to do something so loving and so sweet, but when we realize and put it through what your loved one is able to experience, we realize it's sometimes different. And what I want to say is that in this world of, social media and being able to post things and being able to share so easily with other people what we're doing, don't get sucked in that the best care looks like the fancy best care. It's a lot of times not. Sometimes what's the best thing for our loved one is looking them in the eyes and smiling and holding their hands and rubbing their shoulders and just spending quality time with them. And sometimes it's the big celebration. I just want to give you the urge to ask yourself, according to who?
Is this the greatest thing to do for my loved one right now?
According to who? According to me and what I view as a great celebration and what I view as, something my loved one should enjoy doing? Or am I looking at it through my loved one's perspective of what they think would be great, what they think would be amazing? And sometimes we don't know it until we try it, but be open to it changing. Be open to celebrations and beautiful things, not looking like a classic big event. It looks different. And I think that's where a lot of grief and things come in. But I'm really saying this from the bottom of my heart because the people who are wanting to do these great, amazing things for their loved ones, despite their loved ones showing signs that maybe it's not great, those people, they're doing it because they want to give their loved ones the best quality of life. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So we have to make sure we actually filter that through our loved one's perspective and ask, is this thing I'm trying to do giving my loved one the best quality of life? And sometimes the best quality of life isn't going to be a lot of fanfare. And I think this might come at a good time as well, given the upcoming holidays approaching. And so just food for thought. I'd love to know, honestly, from your perspective, were there things that you really wanted to make happen for your loved one, but you realized your loved one didn't really need it, or your effort to make something big and amazing actually seemed to cause more distress? Super common. And I think the more we share these experiences, the more we realize we're not alone. Careblazer, as always, I do have a free training you can sign up for. I just recently revamped it entirely. So it's how to care for a loved one without the overwhelm, dread, and confusion. And I have specifically re-recorded that video to include 4 of the top caregiving behaviors, like the things we do as caregivers. I do often, as much as I know that I shouldn't, and it's hard. But what I decided to do was, instead of just sharing the 4 things not to do or to avoid as much as possible, I'm actually sharing what to do instead. Because if there's anything I hate, it's like, don't do this, avoid this. But it's like, what do we do instead? I have updated the training to include all of that. There is a link in the description below. I am sending all of you so much love as you navigate this often emotionally, physically, energetically difficult caregiving journey. Bye.
Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free. And Nico says, thank you very much.